Ever pondered how Indian diplomats shape the course of international relations? It's an intriguing question, isn't it? Well, the answer lies in understanding the broad spectrum of diplomacy. This is a realm where ambassadors and high commissioners aren't just figureheads, but key players in shaping the ebb and flow of international relations. These diplomats, with their deep understanding of cultural nuances and political landscapes, play an instrumental role in forging alliances, managing conflicts and promoting their country's interests abroad. They are the conductors in the orchestra of global politics, ensuring the harmony of international relations. Indian diplomats in particular have been at the forefront of this global arena, navigating the complex currents of international politics. They've contributed to shaping India's image on the world stage, from being a newly independent nation to becoming a significant global player. The Indian diplomatic landscape is a rich tapestry woven with many significant events and personalities. And that's just scratching the surface. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this fascinating world. The roots of Indian diplomacy trace back to the time of independence. The year was 1947, a time of great change and uncertainty for the newly sovereign nation. The initial years of Indian diplomacy were fraught with challenges. The country was staring at a colossal task to establish its presence on the global stage amidst the tumultuous backdrop of the Cold War era. As a fledgling democracy, India had to navigate the complex world of international relations while grappling with its domestic issues. The strategies adopted during this phase were marked by a strong commitment to principles of peace, non-alignment, and mutual respect for sovereignty. The Indian diplomats, the unsung heroes of this era, worked tirelessly to foster relationships with different nations, striving to find a balance between the country's national interests and its international commitments. These formative years, filled with trials and tribulations, laid the groundwork for the rise of Indian diplomacy. The journey of Indian diplomacy has been a story of evolution and adaptation. From the moment India claimed its independence in 1947, its diplomatic efforts were put to the test. In the early years, India's diplomacy was largely guided by the principles of Panchsheel, or the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence. These principles, which include mutual respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, non-aggression, non-interference in internal affairs, equality and mutual benefit, and peaceful coexistence, set the tone for India's diplomatic engagements. As the world changed, so did India's diplomatic strategy. By the 1970s, India had established diplomatic relations with nearly all the nations of the world. Notable diplomats like Upper Pant and Braj Kumar Nehru played important roles during this period, navigating the complexities of the Cold War era and upholding India's interests on the global stage. The turn of the millennium saw India pivoting towards economic diplomacy. The rise of India as an economic powerhouse led to a shift in focus towards building strategic partnerships and fostering economic ties. The role of diplomats like Shyam Saran and Nirupama Rao in securing key trade agreements and fostering economic partnerships cannot be overstated. In recent years, India's diplomacy has been characterized by a focus on soft power. Yoga, Bollywood, Indian cuisine and the Indian diaspora have been leveraged as tools of diplomacy to enhance India's global image and influence. Eminent diplomats like Navtej Sarna and Hardeep Singh Puri have played instrumental roles in promoting India's soft power globally. Simultaneously, India's diplomacy has taken a digital turn with the advent of social media. Diplomats are now using these platforms to engage with the global community, creating a more open and accessible form of diplomacy. The evolution of Indian diplomacy paints a picture of a nation constantly adapting to the changing global landscape. Today, Indian diplomacy stands as a formidable force on the international stage. Over the years, it has evolved from a reactive to a proactive approach, leveraging its strategic location, vibrant economy and cultural diversity. Indian diplomacy now holds sway over important global issues, from climate change to peacekeeping missions, and from human rights to international trade. India's diplomatic corps, with its astute ambassadors and high commissioners, has been instrumental in fostering this influence. Through their adept negotiations and rapport building, they have carved out a niche for the nation in international affairs. Looking ahead, the future of Indian diplomacy appears promising. With the nation's increasing economic prowess and strategic importance, its diplomatic influence is set to further strengthen. Its role in shaping global norms and policies will likely continue to grow, paving the way for a more prominent India on the world stage. The rise of Indian diplomacy is a testament to the nation's growing influence on the world stage.